Hello everyone. Welcome to Super Coaching UPSC by Textbook. This is Venkatesh, your faculty for geography. As you all know, Friday happens to be the session of previous year questions. We have seen significant sessions on previous year questions for the last 25 years. Whatever the questions are asked, we have discussed all such questions simultaneously, topic wise. We have covered in the previous section climatology. Now, in this session, we'll be discussing about oceanography. You all see that oceanography chapter has an important relevance while you are covering about the topics associated with your prelims 2024. Keeping that into consideration, covering all the previous year concepts out of that, it's of vital importance. Sessions like these are actually utilized. You can be utilizing these sessions for your benefit by revising all the previous year questions and also practicing the template of UPSC prelims. So without much wastage of time, let's start the first question. You can see this question, Indian Ocean dipole. Right. Can you answer it now? Right. Can you answer this question? So, with reference to the Indian Ocean dipole, sometimes mentioned in the news while forecasting Indian monsoon, which of the following statements are correct? Are correct. Indian Ocean dipole phenomena is characterized by a difference in sea surface temperature between tropical Western Indian Ocean and tropical Eastern Pacific Ocean. Now you see this phenomena. They're saying that it is characterized by the difference of sea surface temperature between tropical Western Indian Ocean and tropical Eastern Pacific Ocean. Indian Ocean dipole phenomena can influence an El Nino's impact on the monsoons. It is a very simple question. If you think carefully, you can get the answer right. Anyone who can get the answer, who knows the answer, please mention in the comments. Right? So if you see it here, the answer is, the first statement is definitely wrong. The second statement is right. The answer is 2 only. Now if you see here, Indian Ocean dipole, as the name suggests, what is the name suggesting? It is an ocean dipole of the Indian Ocean. IOD, Indian Ocean. Dipole means polarity. So you observe something about at two extremes. What is that something? Temperatures. So you observe the temperatures of the oceanic water of the Indian Ocean on the western side and on the eastern side. So it is the polarity on which side? Difference of sea surface temperature between the tropical Western Indian Ocean, that is, this is about Somalia, and Eastern Pacific Ocean. Do you know Eastern Pacific means you are talking about Peru? So all the way from, if first statement is right, you are talking about all the way from here to the Pacific coast of or the South American side, somewhere here. So it might be a huge body. Is that the case? No. It's about the Indian Ocean. So it is at Indonesia and Somalia, right? So with that way, the first aspect you have to, it's a blunder. It is a common thing. Many of you prepare about UPSC prelims, but you ignore about this smaller thing. You should not at all ignore. Then the second aspect, Indian Ocean dipole phenomena can influence an El Nino's impact on the monsoon. Yes, when we talk about monsoons, it's a mix of multiple things, and monsoons can be impacted by multiple phenomena like El Nino or any other thing, and one phenomena can be very good, one phenomena can be very poor. In that way, you can talk about it can influence. Yes. See, for monsoons to have a pleasant one, it's a mix of multiple things. For example, you take a car. As you drive, as you take a car, there are multiple things which will be impacting it. Say things like Imagine the petrol in a car is there, the fuel is there, but the car is unable to move forward because, so maybe the engine is not yet ready. Or imagine there is fuel is ready, engine is ready, but the battery is weaker. Then also the car cannot move. So monsoons are also of such phenomena where they can be impacted by multiple things. But the thing about monsoons which you also need to understand is they can be impacted by some other things, right? They can be impacted by some other things which can influence. Some are part of the process, some are influenced. For example, imagine if the tire is punctured, still the car can move forward, though it is not ideal, no? So that way, sometimes even when El Nino is there, imagine it is a negative impact. That negative impact can be countered by Indian Ocean dipole. For example, when you know that 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 4 times is equal to 8, sometimes 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 is equal to 8. So the additional IOD can compensate the loss of El Nino. That is how it can have an impact. So what I'm trying to tell you, geographically, how does it do is, when Indian Ocean dipole is there on a positive phase, especially of the positive phase, when winds of the southwest monsoons enter towards India in this way, what can it happen is, they can carry more moisture from the tropical waters of the Indian Ocean and drag those waters towards India. So in other words, what is happening? Moisture we are getting more. So when when the winds carry more moisture, naturally that will lead to more amount of rainfall. That is how Indian Ocean dipole influences. What does it do? As the winds are crossing, say the southeast trade winds, which will be modified into southwest winds, they carry more moisture because of Indian Ocean dipole in a positive phase, when there is more moisture here because of more temperatures. Am I clear, all of you? Is that understood to you, all of you? Is that understood? Right. Okay. So let's move forward to the next question. Okay. Yes, good, Gayatri. You are able to understand. Move forward to the next question. Now you see this. On the planet Earth, most of the fresh water exists as ice caps and glaciers. Out of the remaining fresh water, the largest proportion, what is happening? A very tricky question, isn't it? So, if you see that most of the water on the planet Earth is around, what do you say? Most of the water of the planet Earth is in the oceans. Then out of the remaining thing, we are asking about the fresh water. So on the planet Earth, most of the fresh water, they're not talking about the salt water, exists as ice caps and glaciers. Out of the remaining fresh water, the largest proportion is, think, answer. Yes, Ganesh, it's wonderful that you have used the subject knowledge and utilized for your exam. Great, good for you. I wish you all the best in your endeavors. I think it's good for us to be part of your journey. So I hope you get into the services sooner and do a wonderful job as a, what do you say, as a true serviceman of the government, doing welfare for our people. All the best to you. Yes, yes, nature seeker. Okay, there is another nature seeker here. Okay, so now you see the answer for nature. The answer of this question is exists as groundwater. If you see, this is the answer. Majority of the fresh water which we have, majority of the fresh water which we have, right? Majority of the fresh water. See, overall, when you talk about the water, 97%, 96 is ocean, 2.5% is fresh water. If you assume 2.5% of water is fresh, now if we assume this itself is 100%, majority is trapped as glacier and ice caps, which is almost around 70%. The remaining things is groundwater. So that is the second source. You can see the largest proportion of the remaining water after the ice caps and glaciers is groundwater. So this is about the water, groundwater and glacier ice caps. 30% is groundwater. Then among the surface water, where you have the lakes, the ponds, the mighty rivers, the rivers which are regarded as the civilization centers, you look at the source. The rivers constitute just around less than 1% of 1% of 2.5%. When you talk about the total water, rivers constitute 0.0001% of total water availability on the planet. But that water is important for us in terms of our civilization, isn't it? Isn't it? Right? So please remember, majority of the water is salt. Whatever the fresh water you have dominated in the glacier ice caps, then they are dominated in the groundwater. Then only they are talking about the surface waters where you have, which is of the surface ice and snow and lakes and all such things. So mostly they can ask questions from here. Have you understood this, all of you? Because we are talking about oceans, obviously you will be expecting questions out of water distribution, isn't it? Have you understood this, all of you? Shall I move forward? Okay, so let's go for to the next question. And one more trivia for you. The upcoming March 22nd, it happens to be World Water Day. So just when you're talking about oceans, definitely there is a possibility of asking questions about such things. So when it is a World Water Day, also study the theme of that year. The theme, right? The theme for that year as well. Right. Move forward. We'll discuss in my Telegram channel. I'll give you the information about the World Water Day, the theme, what kind of questions you can expect out of that. Right. Move forward. And which one of the following areas do you find Diamantini Trench? Diamantini Trench is situated in which of the following oceans? Now, this is the topic out of bottom sea topography. We have the trenches. We have the trenches. So there is a trench called Diamantini Trench. Is located in which part of the ocean? So this is part of the Indian Ocean. See, Indian Ocean. See, Diamantini Trench. It is one of the important zone of the trench in the Indian Ocean, or having at a height of around depth of around 7,100 meters, right? So there might be some variations depth at different places, whatever. Diamantini Trench is one of the trench along with the Java Trench. Java Trench is the deepest trench. After that, Diamantina Trench, and this trench is located around 1,000 kilometers southwest of the Perth in Australia. You can see this is Perth, and here southwest you are located here. That this trench is located, and its maximum depth is more than 8,000 meters, maybe. Okay, it is not the deepest point. Even what do you say? Java Trench is the deepest point. Diamantina Trench is the next trench located in the Indian Ocean. So let's discuss the further thing. So such things. Then for your understanding, how do trenches are formed? How do trenches are found? Trenches are found as part of the ocean plate subductions. They are a product of what? Plate tectonics. When oceanic plate subducts, that is when you will find the formation of trench. Majority of the trenches are in the Pacific Ocean, has more trenches. Majority of the trenches are in the Pacific Ocean because of the phenomena of having more oceanic plate dynamism in that part of the world. Okay, so let's move forward to the next question. And you see, when I see, I also need to understand about some of the questions. We also need to see it from the perspective of whether the topper or whether a qualifier of prelims can clear this question or not. I expect a qualifier can easily get this question right, because they would not be falling to the trap of such things, specific question. They would not be falling to the trap. This, I would say, it's a medium question. It's not very difficult. It's not very easy. So people who are having conceptual clarity, who has studied well, then they can get it. So I would say it is around, maybe probability of a qualifier getting is around 75%. I would say mostly they would be getting it. I would be surprised if they don't get it, but I would not be shocked, right? And this question, maybe they might not know, they can ignore it as well. I would not be surprised here if they get it wrong. So this is a bit difficult. So why I'm trying to tell you is, you should also evaluate yourself accordingly. I don't want you to evaluate if you don't know about certain aspect, right? So I'm not talking about today, I'm talking about at the day of the exam, right? Let's move forward. Tides occur in the oceans and seas due to which among the following? Tides occur in the oceans and seas due to which among the following? Gravitational force of the sun, force of the moon, centrifugal force of the earth. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Let's see the answer. Anyone? Right. Now, tides occur. What are tides? Rhythmic fall and the rhythmic rise and fall of the oceanic water because of certain forces is what we say tide. And tides happen because of gravitational pull of this moon, yes. Gravitational pull of the sun, yes. Centrifugal force of the earth, question mark. Is it yes or wrong? It is yes. The answer is all of the above. Let's understand about all these things. So now, when you talk about tides, you always have the sun, moon, earth. Imagine for a while, forget about the sun. Sun doesn't come into the straight line every day, but every day, every point on the earth's surface will be having a, what do you say, will be having a direct connection with respect to the moon, because they will be in a straight line at one point. Every point on the earth's surface is always connected with the moon. Say, as the moon rotates, right, as the moon revolves around the earth, you will see that every point they will be at a straight line like this, isn't it? So when the sun, moon, you can see this is the earth. When the moon is at this position, the moon attracts certain gravitation on the earth. Because of that, what happens? The oceanic water will be dragged towards moon. So because of that, there is a bulge which is there. Exactly the same bulge. At the same time, to counter this, there is also an opposite bulge. So these two bulges, the reason for this bulge is because of gravitational pull of the moon. The reason for this bulge is the counterbalancing centrifugal force of the earth, which is the trying to counter it. So that is the centrifugal force of the earth, which is trying to the counter bulge. So because of that, when the moon and the earth are in a when at every point there will be, when the moon and the earth are in the straight line, not when, from this point A and this point B, when the moon is in straight line. So point A will get high tide because of the tidal gravitational pull of the moon. Point B will also get a tide, will also get a high tide, because to counter this extra push, the earth will be having a centrifugal force that will be pushing water towards the opposite of this. That is the reason why we have tides. Now, these are the high tides. So usually we have 2 high tides in a day. But occasionally, for every 15 days, we will be finding that sun, moon, earth are in straight line. Then that is spring tide. When sun, moon and the earth are in a rectangular or in a say triangle that is perpendicular to each other. So the earth and when the sun is here and the moon and earth, so now they are at almost like a right angle, right perpendicularity. Then you will find that neap tides. So there is also a force of the sun as well, isn't it? Right? So with that, you can please remember, with the moon, the sun would be the moon's gravitational force will be exaggerated by will be having an impact on the earth. The water will be dragged. This is the bulge. To counter that, there is a gravitational pull of the earth as well. That's why there is another bulge. So this is the centrifugal bulge. So the two resultant bulges, one is the gravitational pull of the moon, another is the centrifugal force of the earth. These are the reasons. Have you understood, all of you? Shall I move forward to the next question? Right? Shall I move forward? Right. Okay. Right. Assertion. During the neap tides, the high tide is lower than, during the neap tides, the high tide is lower and the low tide is higher than usual. During the neap tide, the high tide is lower and the low tide is higher than usual. Reason: the neap tide, unlike the spring tide, occurs on the new moon instead of the full moon day. So what is the question they are asking? What is the assertion? The assertion says that during the neap tide, the high tide is lower and the low tide is higher than usual. The neap tide, unlike the spring tide, occurs on the new moon instead of the full moon day. Right. Can you tell me the answer, anyone? Can you tell me the answer? Let us explain this phenomena. What are neap tides and spring tides? Say, when the sun, moon, earth are in straight line, like this, either sun, earth, moon in that order, or sun, moon, earth in that order, we'll find spring tides. So on that day, what happens is, the force of the tide would be more than normal, because you see here, this is spring tide. So there is, say there is the earth, we have a moon. So moon's bulge will be there. There will be some kind of a bulge here, right? There is a bulge. But there is also sun which also comes into the picture. When all of the three are in a straight line, to a larger extent the moon and to a shorter extent the sun will also be having an impact on the gravitation of the earth. Now because of that, what is happening? The bulge would be, say, this much. So what happened? The high tide becomes very, very high. Now imagine when the what do you say, neap tide, we have the earth, we have the moon, so there would be certain bulge here. But exactly at the same time, imagine the sun is located here now, as you can see here, right? The sun is located, or the moon, whatever you can say so. Now because of this, whatever the force which is added here by the sun, it will be subtracted here. So what happens? The tide becomes normal tides. Extreme tides are found at spring tides. So in other words, what I can say, when spring tides occur, you find extreme T. High tide is higher than usual. When neap tides occur, we find moderate. We find moderate. So high tides are lower than usual. Low tides are higher than usual, right? So that is moderate tides during neap tides. One important phenomenon you need to understand, only the full moon day and the new moon day, both the days, you will find they are in straight line. So neap tides occur when they are perpendicular. So with that, now you see the question. You can clearly say that first statement is right, second statement is wrong. Reason is wrong. When reason is wrong, A is true, answer is C. Have you understood this? So the neap tide also, unlike the spring tide, occurs on the new moon day. No, spring tides, new moon and full moon day, right? Whereas neap tide is different. So with this, I hope you have got this picture. Then why do the high tides are lower than usual? Because of the perpendicularity. The reason, the correct reason is because of the perpendicularity, whatever the force is there of the moon will be countered by a certain force to a lesser extent by sun. Right. So let's move forward to the next question. Are you understanding? Gayatri, Ganesh, the nature seeker? Right. So next question. Consider the following statements. Tides are of great help in navigation and fishing, isn't it? Definitely, tides are of great help in navigation and fishing. Yes. High tide enables big ships to enter or leave the harbor safely. When high tides enter, the high tide that enables the ships to leave the harbor safely because there is more depth. Silt is not at all a challenge now. Yes. And the high tides prevent siltation in the harbors. This is also right. So 1, 2, 3 are right. So you can eliminate these. Kandla and Diamond Harbour are tidal ports. Kandla and Diamond Harbour are the tidal ports? Definitely yes, they are the tidal ports. In fact, the Kandla port and the Diamond Harbour port, Kolkata, both are tidal ports. Answer is D, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So you can see that now you see there are tidal ports because that will have a significance with respect to the tides and all. You can see that Diamond Harbour happens to be on the river bed, right? It is not the Haldia port on the sea. Kolkata is into the river Hooghly, right? Which river it is? Hooghly river. Right. Right. Yes, it is D. All of them are right. Next, move to the next question now. Which of the following is not a lagoon? Yes, you can answer. Priti, Ganesh, Gayatri, you can answer. Okay. Now you see which one of the following is not a lagoon. Understand what is a lagoon first, then we will see the location, we will get to know. Okay. So let's see a lagoon. What is a lagoon? You can see here. This is an open sea. There is an island and there is a water body. This is what we call it as a lagoon. So what is a lagoon? These are shallow bodies of water separated from the ocean by sandbars, barrier islands, or coral reefs, whatever. Whatever they are separated. The separation could be whatever. It could be island, it could be coral reef, whatever. And the shallow body of water into the land, separated from the ocean by like a sandbar which deposits sand from the ocean or anything, that is what we call it as what? Lagoons. So these are lagoons. Now you see the example. Now they are needed to the water body is what our understanding. Now you all know that Pulicat Lake, where you find the famous Sriharikota Island, the island where we launch our satellites, all such kind of things. So Pulicat Lake is separated from the Bay of Bengal by an island. So it is also a lagoon. Yes. So as Chilika Lake, this is a Chilika Lake separated from the water body from the minor land structures. So this is also a lagoon. Then Astamudi Lake is also a lagoon, whereas the Periyar Lake is deep inside into the Periyar National Park in Kerala, and it is around Kerala, isn't it? Right? So it is deep inside, and from here you will find that it is a bit more far away from the ocean. So definitely it is not a lagoon. So the correct answer is Periyar Lake. This is not a lagoon. Right? So let's move forward to the next question. I hope you all are following this. Okay. La Nina is suspected to have caused floods in Australia. We all see that. La Nina is suspected to cause floods in Australia. How is La Nina different from El Nino? So they are asking about what is La Nina in other words, right? It is characterized by unusually cold oceanic temperature, yes. In where? In the equatorial Indian Ocean. Whereas El Nino is characterized by unusually warm oceanic temperature in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. So the statement of El Nino is right? Whereas the statement of La Nina, unusually cold ocean temperature, to that extent it is right, but it is not at equatorial Indian, no. It is also the equatorial Pacific Ocean. In fact, it is the Western Pacific Ocean. So statement 1 is wrong. And El Nino has adverse effect on southwest monsoon, yes, but La Nina has no effect on monsoonal climate. No, that statement is wrong. In fact, they do have, La Nina has no effect on monsoon climate, is wrong. In fact, they have better impact. In fact, we will have good rainfall. La Nina means good rainfall. So even this statement is wrong. So the correct answer is given above are correct, neither 1 nor 2. So in that way, both statements are wrong. El Nino has adverse effect, yes. La Nina, the opposite. We can see that. What are these El Nino and La Nina? These are temperatures of the oceanic water at the coast of Peru. When you have together they are called as ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. When there is warm water at the coast of Peru, it is El Nino. When there is cold water at the coast of Peru, it is La Nina. these warm waters and cold waters in the biggest ocean of the world, the Pacific Ocean, which is almost 1/3 of the land, can have a huge impact in terms of the temperatures, the climate, the rainfall across the world, which we call it as the teleconnections. Because of these teleconnections, you will find that they are having a significant role to play. I hope you all have understood this, right? So, and for further amount of this topic, you can check in my YouTube channel. You can check at the YouTube channel where you can get to know about this topic of El Nino and La Nina. Let's go to the next question. What could be the main reasons for the formation of African and Eurasian desert belt? Yes, try to answer this. Right. What could be the main reasons for the formation of African and Eurasian belt? It is located in the subtropical high pressure cells. Yes. Subtropical high pressure cells. It is under the influence of warm ocean currents? No. See, any African or Eurasian desert belt, or mostly about the African belt, if you talk about that African belt, it is located in the subtropical high pressure zone. Yes, but it is under the influence of cold oceanic current. So the correct answer is one only. You can see here, this is the zone of subtropical high pressure belt, and that is the reason why you will find the desert belts. And here you are always associated with the cold current. Say like for Sahara, it is the Canary cold current. So it is the cold current. That cold current is the reason why you will find desert. What is a desert? Lack of vegetation. Why do you find lack of vegetation? Lack of rainfall. Why there is lack of rainfall? The oceanic moisture is not sufficient to have enough temperature. That is number one. Number two, you will also find that this is a zone of subtropical high pressure belt where there are calmer winds descending from the upper atmosphere to the ground level, which is leading to such kind of phenomena. So, right. So, that is about the questions out of oceanography. I hope you all have understood these questions. Whatever the doubts further you have, you can always ask me. You can get into my Telegram channel for more such kind of doubts if you have. If you want to get to know about this file, if you want the PDF of this, you can get it from my Telegram channel. Hope you all have understood this, right? Happy learnings to all of you. And more than that, today happens to be Women's Day. I wish all of you a happy Women's Day. The idea of a Women's Day is let them be as they are, like any human being, isn't it? That is the thing. So, the years of sometimes not able to give opportunity of them to excel is the reason why, to bring awareness, we celebrate this Women's Day. The celebration has to be realized with respect to this idea of be making themselves as they are, isn't it? With that, a happy Women's Day, all of you. Take care of yourself. Happy learnings. Thank you. Jai Hind.